What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about all the content we know that's coming in Season 2, some important changes, plus even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and let me know down below in the comments how have you felt about the cosmetics thus far in Modern Warfare 2. I know even Charlie Intel was saying that they're hoping store bundles and other cosmetic content in the game get better with Season 2, since Season 1's bundles have been a bit underwhelming, but obviously you're all aware that Season 1 of MWII, Cold War, and even Vanguard weren't the greatest in terms of bundles, so hopefully we start seeing some crazy reactive blueprints and operator skins drop at some point during Season 2, but even with Vanguard's case, cosmetics didn't get too great until around Season 4, so we'll have to wait and see what the schedule is for upcoming content cosmetically over in COD 2.0. Now today we got a poll from Infinity Ward asking which playlist we wanted to see over in multiplayer. They actually put the listings as Shoot the Ship, Shipment, and even Shoot House. Obviously Shoot the Ship is the greatest choice of all here, since that was a playlist that was promised during Season 1 blog post back during November, so without a doubt that playlist will come to the game at some point, even if it's not this week, although I do think the results of the poll do matter here. Everybody out there wants both of those maps in a single playlist, but there was some pretty positive feedback in the replies of that tweet saying, although Shipment and Shoot House are important maps for camo grinding, we want to see some actual new maps added during Season 2, not just the same maps remastered over and over again. So we'll have to wait and see what the plan is for future new multiplayer maps over for Modern Warfare 2, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes, but our Japanese theme Season 2 is set to start on February the 15th, with the preload, in my opinion, dropping likely on the 13th. That's usually when preloads do go out, a good 2 days before the start of a new season. So at that point, expect the preload to go out for all platforms a bit early, and lots of content will probably be playable and leaked via private matches, so be aware of that. And the season should end up starting on February 15th at around 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 o'clock Eastern. But what is unclear as of right now is if there'll be a weird kind of split schedule, similar to Season 1, where for some reason, some content goes live earlier in the morning at like 7, 8 a.m. Central, and then maybe at around 11 a.m. Central, the Battle Pass comes out and some of the other modes. But Season 1 was a bit of an interesting case, since that was a big launch day for multiplayer, Warzone 2, DMZ, and then even a Battle Pass. So maybe this time around, everything will go live at the same time at around, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll have to wait and see. Now tonight's video is sponsored by Point3 Gear. Point3 Gear is a clothing brand dedicated to evolution in performance wear. They're expanding beyond just basketball gear to now gaming. They recently released even more officially licensed Modern Warfare 2 merch when it comes to shorts and even some arm sleeves. Their shorts do feature built-in towels on both hips, and the shorts do allow amateurs and pros alike to dominate their lobby and keep their hands dry in between missions. They've sent me 2 new pairs of Modern Warfare 2 shorts, one that has more of a blue and orange design, and another that has more of a Task Force 141 theme, but don't forget about the arm sleeve. It does perfectly match the all-black Modern Warfare 2 shorts as well. All of this is perfect in time for the upcoming launch of Season 2. Now, I have been grinding the game hard, but now I don't have an excuse not to keep up my daily workout routine. Now, if you're ready to rock the most comfortable Modern Warfare 2 merch, then check out Point3 Gear with a special link in this video's description or the pinned comment, and thank you to Point3 Gear for sponsoring tonight's video. Now, a couple of days ago, Infinity Ward put out a statement regarding all new content coming to every single game mode, but highlighting the multiplayer portion of the statement, where they mention brand new multiplayer maps, modes, weapons, and much more. That's probably a hint that we likely won't get any remasters in Season 2, which, if that's the case, I'm okay with the rumor that we're getting a greatest hits map pack at some point next year, or I'm sorry, at the end of 2023. I think that leaves room for a bunch of new maps to come out first, save all the remasters for the greatest hits pack later on during a supposed Year 2 expansion. I'm cool with that. They got Shipment and Shoot House out the way, and Shoot the Ship should be a playlist in the game in the next few days. Glad they got that out the way now for those out there that want to camo grind, but now for the rest of the game's life cycle, let's focus on new maps, at least for Year 1. But as of right now, new maps do include, which got leaked, Oilfield and Sunken, which are likely going to be for Ground War. Those are portions from Al Mazrah. Then there's gunfight maps known as Runway, Castle, Convoy, Gulag Showers, Cargo, The Mall, Docks, Drainage, Utopia, and even Ruins. So those, of course, could be portions from maps that already exist in 6v6 multiplayer. Those could be portions cut off from Al Mazrah. It's unclear when Gunfight is even coming out, but it's, of course, a game mode that is very likely coming in Season 2. Now, we also have our big castle-looking map, which is going to be for Resurgence and even DMZ. Ground War support for this map has been leaked as well, but it's unclear if Ground War support for that map will be available on day 1, February 15th. But at least day 1, Season 2 is going to be giving us both Resurgence and DMZ support for this brand new map. They're considering it a smaller scaled Warzone map, but it'll probably be very similar in size to Rebirth, of course. But also speaking of Warzone, a lot of new details have been released as of the past couple of days on Infinity Ward's Twitter regarding what changes are coming to Warzone at some point in Season 2. These are likely all going to be changes we see on day 1, February 15th. They first mentioned that 1v1s are back in Battle Royale for the Gulag. It's unclear what's going to happen to 2v2s, but there'll likely be a feature that gets incorporated in maybe the Gulag we get in other LTMs, but regular BR is going back to 1v1 Gulags. They also mentioned that looting changes will be released and many more. They mentioned player eliminations and all loot containers will now pop floating loot out onto the floor. So yeah, that piñata-like loot system we had in Warzone 1 is coming back in Season 2, which is great. And they also mentioned cash and even the prices for things are going to be modified in Season 2. There's now more lootable cash available in Battle Royale, and prices are getting balanced to give you more bang for your buck. So that'll mean probably a reduction in prices for loadouts, other items in the buy station. So some great changes are coming to really improve Warzone in Season 2, and will likely bring everything back to what we were accustomed to from Warzone 1. Now, also in regards to game modes for Warzone 2, some icons did leak out quite recently, one of which does show what looks like Plunder, since it looks like a money sign over the Battle Royale icon for Warzone 2. So that probably is Plunder, and 2 icons actually leaked out with that same icon, one that looks like it's for solos and one that's for duos. So I do think Plunder is coming very, very soon. If not the start of Season 2, then at the very latest by Season 2 Reloaded. I'd be shocked if they wait even longer to drop that, since it looks like Season 2 is meant to kind of bring Warzone 2 back to a level that we're all familiar with, whether it's bringing back Resurgence, maybe Plunder, also a bunch of quality of life changes that we should have had in day 1 for Warzone 2 anyways. So that should be coming out really soon. But we also have confirmation from Doug over at Modern Warzone that private matches are still 100% coming in 2023. So that'll probably also be a big update that happens to Warzone, likely in Season 2, since that's the role of Season 2 as of right now, kind of just to bring us back to what we're all familiar with. But in terms of new weapons coming in Season 2, as of right now, we have a couple of leaked weapons that you guys probably knew about, or maybe you didn't. We have a crossbow, which is likely going to be taken out of the campaign, since MWII also had a crossbow added into multiplayer in Warzone 1. Also a new type of shotgun based on unfinished compensators that were found. The rumor right now is the Vepr 12 shotgun. So that kind of lines up with the fact that, yeah, unfinished compensators were found during the gunsmith menu. So that'll likely be for the upcoming shotgun that we get in Season 2. Now, a bunch of melee weapons were also discovered for the next season. And if it is a Japanese themed season, which the leaked cover art does suggest, then these do line up. We have a sword, Kali sticks, a ballistic knife, a flaming throwing knife, and even a shuriken. So those do sound pretty cool, but in terms of an AR or an SMG or even an LMG, we're still a bit unclear as to what's going on with those kind of weapons, but we'll learn more about that, of course, in this week's upcoming blog post. Now, in terms of new multiplayer game modes we're going to end up seeing, first and foremost, it was confirmed that regular hardcore as we know it is coming back and will replace Tier 1 in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. So although that should have been in the game day 1, I think it's just an experiment that just didn't pan out correctly, right? Tier 1 just didn't hit for a majority of the community, and they have data to prove that. Therefore, traditional hardcore as we know it is coming back into MW2. Even Realism from MW19 was a game mode that wasn't really received all that well, which is why it probably didn't come back here in Modern Warfare 2. So there's that. And along with the leaked icon for Plunder, icons also leaked out for Gun Game and even Gunfight for multiplayer. So that lines up with the fact that a bunch of maps already leaked out for Gunfight. That's likely a list that is going to be really relevant for Season 2. A bunch of those maps, if not most of them, should be dropping at some point during the duration of this second season. And we also have confirmation that Ranked Play from Treyarch is also dropping at the start of Season 2. It's a game mode that probably should have been out a little while ago, maybe even at some point in a January update, but they've of course saved it for February, which hopefully means that it got polished beyond belief by the folks over at Treyarch. Now, Infinity Ward did promise new modes coming to Season 2 at some point, and obviously Gunfight and Gun Game would be new modes by definition for the game, but they aren't new modes we didn't play in previous Call of Duties. We do have this list from the Ghost of Hope suggesting that other modes are also on the way. These modes do include Reinforce, Drop Zone, Infected, Uplink, Cranked, Team Defender, and even Grind. Obviously, we already got the leak for Gun Game, we got the leak for Cyber Attack a while ago. That's a mode that already came out in Season 1, but those other modes there are also ones we played in previous games. So I think by definition, what they mean by new mode is just a quote-unquote new mode for Modern Warfare 2, but not a mode that we haven't played before in MW19 or other Infinity Ward Call of Duties. Now, somebody also mentioned Demolition in their replies to this tweet back from October, and hopes that that's also a mode that's coming, but you just didn't list it in that list we just went over a couple of seconds ago. So with that, Gunfight seems like it was meant to drop in Season 1, but didn't for whatever reason, which means Season 2 should just be that much bigger in terms of multiplayer content, which I know you guys are probably itching to know more about, since as of right now, for Season 2, we know more about the Warzone and DMZ side of things, not 6v6 multiplayer or even Gunfight. Now, for DMZ, it was also confirmed that we're getting new missions, a new exclusion zone, and difficulty tuning at some point in Season 2, likely at launch on February 15th. New missions for the factions, that's kind of a question mark. Does that mean another faction entirely? entirely, or just tier 6 for the 3 existing factions, or maybe exclusive missions for Building 21. Lots of questions with how that can work, but by new exclusion zone, they do mean a new map. They called Building 21 a new exclusion zone as well, so I think that means that, yeah, DMZ support is coming for the upcoming Resurgence map that has that castle point of interest, and difficulty tuning is in reference to the AI, which could be a little too aggressive. So AI will be tuned down quite a bit for probably both Al Mazrah and Building 21, and likely the castle Resurgence map we're also going to get on February 15th. But with that being said, for DMZ, they also mentioned that what's in the works right now is also dynamic weather, and will possibly get solos or duos. Obviously, originally they said that trios was the only point of entry they wanted for DMZ, but I think that's going to be changed at some point in a future seasons. They probably have data to suggest that more people want to play DMZ, but don't have a full squad to play it, and likely just ignore it because of that reason. So I do think having a solo version of the mode with toned down AI is probably the best approach at some point in the future. But lastly, for Spec Ops, we'll obviously end up getting a new Spec Ops mission or two in Season 2. I probably wouldn't expect more than 1 or 2 missions added per season. If anything, they'll probably add in a few more missions, and then maybe by Season 3 or 4, they'll stop supporting Spec Ops. Aside from the raids are a part of Spec Ops, but to me, they're their own thing. Obviously, we have a second episode of raids coming out at some point in Season 2, likely with the mid-season update. There was a leak that came out not too long ago suggesting that March 2nd was going to be Season 2 Reloaded, but considering season got delayed by 2 weeks, that probably means Season 2 Reloaded will end up being March 15th or March 16th. So that'll probably be the release date of the second episode of raids, or maybe they'll push it back even further for March 22nd or even March 23rd. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on all the content we know of so far coming in Season 2? How are you feeling about the important changes coming to every single game mode and everything else we discussed? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.